Let's embark on an odyssey through the waters of the world as curious fish ready to explore. Our journey begins in the Black Sea, and as we navigate through the salty waters, we encounter some energetic sturgeons, a family of fish that has flourished for over 200 million years, as well as one of the longest living fish species, with some individuals living to be over 100 years old. And as we swim onward, we cross paths with a turbot, showing the wonders of adaptation. With both eyes on one side of its body, it lays flat and perfectly blends into the sandy seabed. A shoal of rainbow trout also accompanies us, with its vibrant red coloration, a result of a diet rich in red pigmented foods like shrimp. They give us valuable directions on where to swim south and continue our expedition out of the brackish Black Sea. We enter into the Bosphorus Strait, a natural watery corridor which splits Istanbul into two halves, the European side and the Asian side. Many passenger and cargo ships traverse this important natural corridor every day, intertwining nature and industry. And many fish call the Bosphorus their home, and many more use the Bosphorus Strait as a migratory route from their spawning waters in the Sea of Marmara to their primary feeding waters in the Black Sea. After a short 19-mile swim, we reach the other side into the Sea of Marmara. We emerge onto the rocky coasts, and we're surrounded by silvery saddled sea breams. It's a crowded zone, and a dogfish makes sure everyone gets out of his way. So we do, and decide that it's safer to ask this tub gunner where to go next. And he directs us farther out into the open sea. We notice that the Sea of Marmara is a little bit saltier than the Black Sea, and there isn't really a noticeable current. The average depth is 2,400 feet, and the maximum depth is over 4,000 feet, so the sea is actually considered relatively shallow. It is thought to have been formed by tectonic plate movements around 2.5 million years ago. This sea is as important of a corridor for humans as it is for the over 230 species of fish who use it for migration or as their home. An eagle ray tells us about the frequent earthquakes and how the water shakes and becomes difficult to navigate when the sediment rises from the sea floor. We stay and we relax for a time and enjoy watching the rich variety of sea life here before journeying farther west towards the Dardanelles. We pass through the narrow Dardanelles Strait, which will bring us out into the Aegean Sea, connecting the Black Sea with the Mediterranean Sea. We enter into the Aegean, a sea sandwiched between Greece and Turkey, and notice it's a larger and busier sea than we've seen thus far, with a maximum depth of over 11,000 feet deep. We unexpectedly come into contact with a group of moray eels inhabiting a pile of sunken logs. We keep our distance because, even though they are shy, they are very dangerous and have a powerful bite. They love rocky bottoms and can live as shallow as the surface to as deep as 300 feet deep. Checking out the seafloor somewhere else, we spot a European lobster. can you see that it has two different claws? The left one is the crusher claw, and the right one is the cutter claw. And even an octopus makes an appearance, one of the most intelligent creatures on this earth, especially for an invertebrate. Their big eyes give them very good vision, and their suction cups even have taste receptors on them. The yellow tube on its head is used for breathing, waste disposal, and ink ejection. The ink that octopi and other cephalopods eject is made almost entirely of melanin and is a clever tactic used to confuse predators so they can successfully escape. The rich diversity of this sea is already apparent as we swim south and meet some sea urchins before heading towards the Red Sea. And first, we pass through the Suez Canal using a large cargo ship for guidance. We enter into the Red Sea and immediately notice the high salinity and striking blue colors. We encounter marvelous coral reefs and vibrant fish, and a colorfully striped sailfin snapper, and a yellowfin tang, all as colorful and dazzling as the others. The warmth of the sea has created the optimal conditions to support a thriving ecosystem and diverse array of life, with many organisms in these environments depending on each other in symbiotic relationships, and groups of fish schooling together for protection. Schooling behaviors are observed in many fish species and also help fish forage together, find mates, and increase their hydrodynamics. These fish feel more safe when they're together than when they're apart, and they learn to school together instinctively. We find a curious little sight of splendid garden eels, and if we didn't look closer, we would have thought they were plants coming out of the sandy seafloor. It's a true joy to befriend so many peaceful, beautiful fish in a real sea paradise. The Red Sea is home to over 2,000 species of fish, and new species are still being discovered. Instead of going farther south, we decide to pass back through the Suez Canal and continue our journey through the Mediterranean Sea. In the Mediterranean, we see more fish and creatures employing ingenious survival strategies, like the scorpion fish, who is smartly camouflaged like a rock and has venomous spines hidden, creative and dangerous together. Another group of moray eel hidden amongst ancient pots, a sneaky predator. They prefer to hunt at night and sometimes even hunt with grouper fish. And we come across some cute box crabs, a little group. Their protective shell, a fortress, underwater fortress against predators looking for perhaps an easy snack. They shuffle along rocks and the seafloor, a bit clumsily, but they somehow always catch their footing. They are mainly active at night when they go hunting for snails, and then when they feel threatened by some predators, they can burrow themselves deep into the sand. Moving on, we continue to swim farther west, encountering different fish along the way and more barren habitats due to the low nutrient profile of the Mediterranean Sea. Before the end of our journey here, we meet a grouper, a large-mouthed predator fish. He tells us we're close to the exit of the Mediterranean, the Strait of Gibraltar. A narrow passage less than 9 miles wide that takes us out into the Atlantic Ocean, the second largest ocean in the world, and a vast expanse of boundless mystery for us. Wind patterns and the Earth's rotation influence the ocean's movements, and we find ourselves pulled south on an important Atlantic Ocean current called the Canary Current. And on this current, we drift along the coasts of Africa. This area is rich with nutrients and fish, which get pushed closer to the surface of the water by a process known as upwelling. On our way, we see a variety of fish: jacks, trevallies, stingrays. We marvel at the stingray's unique way of swimming, using its fins in an undulating motion to propel itself forward through the water. And we also get to meet a sandbar shark, one of the biggest coastal sharks in the world, but even so, one of the safest sharks for humans, with very few documented bites. We continue our journey south, going from the Canary Current to the Brazil Current, when we suddenly enter into very cool water. We're reaching the south reaches of the Earth, close to the Antarctic Ocean, also known as the Southern Ocean. We swim close to the coasts of the Falkland Islands and meet a playful Gentoo penguin who joins us for a swim. Its vibrant orange beak brightening up the dark blue waters. We marvel at its agility as it flies in the water with careful and expert maneuvers. Despite their cute size, they're actually the third largest species of penguin, and they're a very social creature, living in peaceful groups ranging from 20 to over 100 members, and they can even dive down to over 500 feet deep in search of yummy fish. We continue our journey up the South American coasts and enter into the Amazon River, leaving behind the ocean's expanses. A mighty river teeming with tropical biodiversity and warmth. We quickly meet some unique new friends. Angelfish, a gorgeous fish which forms long-term mating relationships, and a red-bellied paco, We peer out of the water at the dense foliage above, the Amazon rainforest, and an incredible haven of biodiversity. Sunlight dapples onto the river below and illuminates the iridescent scales of the silver arowana, a gorgeous dragon-like fish with large armor-like scales and a very skillful predator, which is known to swim near the water's surface and jump out of the water to catch its prey. We follow the silver river dragon to meet some colorful Oscar fish. We keep our distance though because Oscars don't really like to make new friends. The riverbanks are humid and a little bit of rain is falling, making a soothing pattering on the surface of the water. Reveals a small group of poison dart frogs. Their bright green color and toxic nature are a result of their wild diet, possibly concentrating poisons from other species. We soon come into contact with a school of glittery piranhas who assure us that they mean no harm. They're a shy, omnivorous fish that feeds on vertebrates and invertebrates, as well as fruits and seeds. This particular species, the red-bellied piranha, travels together in shoals as protective behavior rather than to group hunt. However, sometimes they can participate in feeding frenzies and consume one large prey item within minutes. Luckily for us though, these piranha are well fed today, and we feel enriched to have made friends with so many unique river fish as we exit out of the mouth of the river. And continue northwest to pass through the Panama Canal, the man-made passage from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. The largest ocean on Earth, covering over 32% of the entire planet. We swim through the vast expanse of this ocean, 90% of which is estimated to be unexplored, and we encounter numerous tropical fish like the longhorn cowfish, which can exude a toxin when threatened. And the fox-faced rabbitfish, and a curious spotted fish called the humpback grouper, which has the unique ability to switch from female to male when there's a lack of male fish around. We encounter so many diverse ecosystems here, influenced by the numerous coral reefs, currents, island chains, and geographical features of the Pacific, such as the Ring of Fire, which is the region around the Pacific Ocean with frequent volcanic and earthquake activity. The ocean is also surrounded by numerous deep trenches full of secret mysteries and new discoveries. We decide to end our journey here in this ocean and have a rest after our long, wonderful trip. Thank you for joining.